What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the RP Experience. I'm your host, Andrew Regenhard, and with Real Producers. And today, we're going to be talking with Josh Lund, who is branch manager of Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group. Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group is a valued partner with Real Producers. Fun fact, Josh is actually one of the first valued partners within the Southwest Florida Real Producers. He's been involved with up in the Twin Cities as well. And so it's great to have you down here in Southwest Florida, and great to have you here on the podcast.
Of course. Okay, thanks for having us, of course, having me anyways. And I really like it because I remember that. I was like the OG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like one of the OGs.
It was back when Venture X wasn't even here, and we met at a first watch, and
yeah, that was fun.
Crazy how things have evolved. So give a little backstory who Josh is. Josh actually is has impressive 20 years of experience when it comes to mortgage. He's been in the mortgage industry. He's originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, something we have in common. I don't know why you're still up in the cold, but that's why he's down here. So he decided to move down to Florida about 6 years ago with his wife and 4 children. And over the 2 decades of being in the industry, he's actually been notoriously known as a lender who other lenders go to when they have kind of difficult transactions. His tagline is, call the lender that other lenders call to get deals done. We're excited. Definitely going to be kind of talking about mortgage. We're going to be talking about local housing trends, predictions kind of in the future, and everything in between. You have some vast different portfolios of different things you're doing, even including some stuff out in Vegas. So there's some cool things that we're going to be discussing today. So welcome. There's a couple things and a couple people that have asked questions in regards to mortgage that is still people are not understanding quite, or they are fudging the numbers. Can you kind of just give to the Reader's Digest and the listeners the answer to this question of like, what's the difference between this whole gross and net income when it comes to applying for a mortgage? Because people think, oh, I can apply for this because of this income, but really it's not correct. Can you kind of guide people so that they probably are coming to you a little bit more prepared?
Always. That's a great question, honestly. And that's a great way to start off the conversation, right? Because we do get that question a lot, right? So gross income, of course, everyone knows gross income is what you make prior to or before taxes, right? Mm-hmm. And net income, of course, is what you take home, right? Mm-hmm. Your cash in your pocket, right? So we do underwrite, or we do look at, we qualify you as a home buyer. When I say you're a home buyer or refinance, whatever you are, you're a borrower. And the borrower, we qualify you off of your gross income. We do. So the before tax income, or if you're self-employed, you're before, I shouldn't say that, sorry. The net income, of course, when you're self-employed, because of course you have all your write-offs when you're self-employed.
Right.
And when you're a W-2 or pay stub borrower, with a normal job, I always say normal job just because you have a normal 40-hour work week, right?
A little bit more reliable.
Exactly. Those are all your gross income. So yes, of course. So that's usually the difference. I mean, we could spend, 45 minutes talking about details, but that's usually the details. I mean, the biggest question we have is, I take home $4,000 a month. What do I qualify for? Well, we don't care what you take home. Honestly, we care about what's your salary?
Well, exactly. What was the offer letter or whatever it was?
Whatever your hourly wages are. Exactly.
Interesting. So pretty much if you're not self-employed, figure out, and which you should already know, it's your acceptance letter or offer letter that you got, or the hour that you're currently then making or whatever, and figure that out on an annual basis, and that's what you need. Yep. But you're saying if you're a business owner, it's actually more or less what the business is taking in. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know obviously myself, being a business owner, there's some time restraints, right? Yep. What's the details on that?
Totally get it, right? So time restraints, what you're talking about is usually what we look at for us anyways. What we always look at is your last 2 years tax returns, right? 2 years, right. So that's what we're really looking at is your last 2 years tax returns. So we don't care about this year. Like for example, 2022 we're in right now, right? I care about 2021 and 2020's taxes, right? Yep. But we have a hard time with that because think about a lot of people. A lot of people that were during COVID, of course, they didn't work in 2020, right? Especially especially self-employed borrowers. They took the hardest brunt of it, right? So it's hard. It's really hard right now for self-employed borrowers. It really is.
So there's some workarounds, but that's the very generic answer, right? That's the cookie cutter answer that you're, that kind of will guide you in the right direction. Obviously, reach out to someone, right, that can guide you in the right path, down the right path to answer the question. So 2020, it was obviously a crazy market. Now we've obviously benefited greatly. All of us being in real estate in some way, some fashion. So what's kind of going on up in Minneapolis, man? I grew up there like in Wisconsin, but like right on the border. I mean, I went to everything Minneapolis, flew out of MSP, but I technically did live in Wisconsin.
Right.
It's changed a lot. You know, I went to school up in North Dakota, but like all my friends are really in Minneapolis. It's the hub.
Right.
Can you give us up to speed? What's going on, man?
Dude, I know, right? I mean, so we watch this all the time. I mean, you guys, everyone know we became like the center of the world for like racial injustice and all that, right? Obviously,
there's a lot going on.
A lot of going on. So anyway, so me and one of my friends, right? Let's jump into something like it's a little bit more fun, right?
Yeah.
Because of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So one of me and my friends, we like to smoke cigars, right? And during COVID, like the height of COVID, the beginning of COVID, we talked to each other and said, hey, there's got to be a place we can go to smoke cigars and maybe have a cocktail like in March of 2020. And of course there wasn't. So
of course, yeah.
Of course not. Everything was really closed, right?
Yeah.
But we thought like maybe there's not. No, it was really closed. So anyways, so we thought we started talking, of course, after a couple of drinks and said, hey, do you want to open a cigar club? I'm like, are you serious? Are you being for real right now? He's like, kinda. So it was easy to find a place, you know, because Minneapolis,
Yeah.
A, B, COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to find a location downtown Minneapolis. So we rented this 4,000 square foot old brick building that's super great, historic, you know. And for a year and a half now, we've had the Hemingway Social.
Yeah.
So it's super fun. So
I've been seeing about it. I haven't been up there yet.
I know, it's super fun. So yeah,
awesome.
Cocktail, cigars, a fun little thing that we got going on the side besides Mortgage World, right? So,
yeah, no, that's super cool. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. You probably build a lot of relationships to it. Totally. I know we talk on all these podcasts of how critical it is with these realtors and people that relationships are important. Well, hey, if you can find a commonality, which is maybe, you know, cigars, because I know that's a common thing. And, you know, now you have a place to gather and
come to
and
my
hang
club.
out.
That's what
That's perfect. So, well, good. Well, what kind of what's going on, do you think, in the market up there? You know, is it, I mean, here in Southwest Florida, as you obviously know, doing mortgages down here and up there, it's crazy, right? The market is insane. Everyone's coming down to Florida due to X, Y, and Z reasons. How is it up in the Midwest?
Great question. I get that question a lot because I lend all over the country, right? So just to answer that, so Minneapolis is just as busy as Florida, Southwest Florida, or anywhere.
But it's cold. How can it be that busy?
That's a great question, right? I don't know. I guess we have good schools, they always say. I don't know. But anyway, so, but we lend all over, right? So you wouldn't believe. So just last month, I helped one of the Las Vegas Knights professional hockey players with his mortgage. In Vegas. He bought a house in Vegas. I had to help him with his loan. A lot of people ask, why does he need a mortgage? It's another story, right? It's a whole podcast that could be, right? And one of my friends moved from Vegas to New Orleans. He just bought a house just 2 weeks ago, closed. Ryan is his name. And so we lend all over. So the reason why I bring all that up is it's big and hot everywhere.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about just 6 months ago, I did a deal in Omaha, Nebraska. And just, it was busy. You know, it's busy there too. And the reason why I know is I had to write 7 pre-approval letters for, 7 different houses. Because they're making offer.
It's that competitive.
Yes, everywhere. It's not just here.
Except New York. No shit.
Probably not. You're probably right.
That one, maybe not. But yeah.
Or Idaho. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a.
I don't know. I'd go out there right now. Probably peace and quiet.
You're probably right.
Wait. So I see you. Obviously, we're connected. I still don't know, and I haven't asked yet. So I want to take this time to ask, what's going on in Vegas?
Right.
I was there not too long ago for a bachelor party.
I saw that.
And Vegas is obviously awesome. But you're doing something out there. What are you doing out there?
Great question. So me and a couple guys from the Hemingway Social, right? Yeah. One of the guys' brainchild. It wasn't my idea, right? But he wanted to partner with some financial backing, right? Yeah. So he asked me to say, hey, listen, we have a contract with Resorts World. And Resorts, if you don't know what Resorts World is, about 8 months ago, they opened.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, $4.5 billion resort. Right? Yeah. Gorgeous. And we have the exclusive contract to have the car rental company there, and we only rent Teslas. So it's evolvecarrentals.com is our website. So we're up and running, right? And we've got 15 cars on the ground at Resorts World right now. We're looking for other resorts. So if anyone's listening that's got an inn in another Vegas resort, call me up.
Yeah.
Right?
Call Josh Lund.
Right, exactly. But no, that's great. And the biggest thing is, too, with Elon Musk, he's digging tunnels right now underneath Vegas as we speak. Like, legitimately. He owns a company called, ready for this? The Boring Company.
Yep, which I know about.
That's a real thing.
That's the flamethrower one and
exactly.
everything. Yep.
So he's digging with the boring company, right now underneath Vegas. It's not like speculation. It's happening now. And the only way to get in these tunnels is with a Tesla. And we have the rentals, at Resorts World. So if you want to
wait, why is Elon digging a tunnel?
I don't know, but I do know it's totally for to alleviate traffic off of the strip, right? So there's going to be like 15 stations underground at each like big mega resort, and Resorts World is number one for real. So it's right now it's at the convention center. Resorts World is the first stop. If you know where Vegas at all. Resorts World's on the north end of the strip, right across from the Wynn, right by Trump's Tower, right? So convention center's up in the north. Resorts World's the first stop for the tunnel. So the tunnel's already done from the convention center to Resorts World.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's going to be great. So the cars are on the ground, so go rent a car and when next time you're in Vegas.
There you go. Awesome. Name drop, Josh Lund.
Right, exactly.
All right, so with the market, every single person loves to ask anyone that's involved in the market, what's going to happen. Okay.
Right.
So what are your predictions? And, the reason I wanted to ask you is you obviously went through not only a pandemic of COVID, you went through a pandemic in the Minneapolis area, with what's going on in the racial kind of realm of things and what happened there. It started a huge movement across the nation, right? And that was the hub in Minneapolis, and it really was detrimental to everything. I mean, I saw a couple of your posts and stories, boarded up everything and whatnot. And I have a lot of friends to hearing about it and how it's really unsafe and different things like that. So you've gone through a couple different pandemics, but you also are working around in Vegas and different places like that. So, talking with a lot of people when you're smoking cigars and stuff like that, that are very influential people, what are your predictions?
Great question. I do get that question a lot, honestly. And it's not just from people in our industry, it's clients, it's people outside of our industry, people, that sell cars. They're asking us because I think their business course coincides with like ours, right? So anyways, long story short is, and I was even in the business, of course, during 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, when you were still, probably in middle school, right? And
it was.
Unfortunately, '08. So '08 was a massive, of course, we had a housing bubble, right? Massive. And it affected, especially Southwest Florida, tremendously.
Yep.
And I honestly, this isn't just me speculating because I'm in this industry. I really don't see a massive bubble or a massive meltdown of anywhere because of the fact it's so much different than it was like in '08.
Right.
So much different. And when I say it's so much different, every loan we're doing now versus like 2008 when anyone could get a loan.
And they could get as many as they wanted.
Correct. Right. Even if you were in middle school, you could, applied. Okay, you're approved. Right?
$500,000 right there.
Exactly. So long story short, we don't see that anymore. Every deal we do is a lot of money down or cash. And there's all these people that are doing Airbnbs and VRBOs now. That wasn't
generating the cash.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a thing back in 2008, right? So, and a lot of people are buying those and they're putting a lot of money down. So it's a different world than it was in '08. So I don't see it slowing down.
In '08, no one that was getting the loans were credited, right? They just were getting them, and you guys were kind of handing them out like candy.
Yep.
Where in now it's like you guys are doing your research because you don't want that to happen. Obviously, that impacted you guys the most, right?
Exactly.
So it's like you guys don't want that to happen. So you guys are obviously taking the due diligence or taking the time to do the due diligence.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. Yep. So you're saying it's not going to be a bubble, but the famous thing I hear right now is it going to go up, or do you think it's kind of going to trend down? Like they're kind of right now teeter-tottering.
Yep.
Like I don't think it's a bubble either. So we probably maybe just for our sake, since no one else can tell us not to, we can eliminate that off the table right now. Right. But do you think it maybe trend down a little bit, or do you think it might trend up?
Totally great question again, and I keep saying that because you've got some good ones. So number one is I think that interest rates, of course, everyone knows that you hear it all over the news. Interest rates have gone up, right? And that they've gone up dramatically just in the last 90 days, right? So I think that'll slow it down. Sure, it's going to taper it down a little bit, but it's not high enough where someone's going to be like, no, I'm not buying a house.
Right.
That's the 8, 9, 10% mark,
for
right?
sure,
which we'll never see. The 5, 6% mark.
Never say never.
Right.
But anyways,
exactly. But no, we're definitely
knocking on wood here, boys and girls.
So the biggest thing is we're just not going to see that. I think we're going to see slowdown, sure, but are we going to see anything like go down? No, of course not. No, not at all. Not at all.
Interesting.
No.
All right. Well, you heard it first. If it does,
I guess call me back. Right. Call me back.
Right. Well, I want to ask you this, kind of going back to the pandemic situation. What guidance can you give to someone that's been affected? We had talked about individuals that went through 2020 even yourself, you went and purchased a property during a pandemic.
Yep.
What kind of guidance would you give someone that is impacted, that's trying to borrow money, that they need to, right? They need to get a home for their house or something like that. What guidance can you give them?
Great. I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, I'm doing a loan right now for someone as we speak that's a Ukrainian refugee. Right?
Okay.
Wow. Right. So born and raised in Ukraine.
Hey, just for the record, everyone, I did not know that. This question was on there first. That is perfect. That is perfect.
Hashtag support Ukraine.
Right? Exactly.
But no, I mean, it came to me from a real estate agent down here in Southwest Florida, right? And he's like, what do we do? Like, she's not from, she is a woman, obviously. She's not from the United States, has no credit, has no tax returns. What do we do, right? So a few years ago, Gold Star invented a loan where if they have 30% down, we don't care about anything else, right? We consider it a rental property because, of course, they're not a citizen of the United States, right? So we consider it a rental property. So that's why we don't need to verify their income. It's a different world, right? So we don't need to verify their income when you have 30% down and it's a rental property, right?
Right.
So anyways, long story short is no credit, no American income, no tax returns, no job history. They can be a foreign investor. So we're doing a lot of these in Southwest Florida. So any real estate agent listening, legitimately, I've done a ton of them for Canadian citizens, because we got all the Canadians that hate the cold and still come to Southwest Florida. We've done a lot of those. So it's a big deal.
Literally what you're saying is they need 30% and that's it.
Thank you. That's it.
Done.
It's an investment property for them. So
click the stop button. We're done recording
I
here.
think that's it, right? So that's legitimately the reason why it's been really popular for us, is because Southwest Florida, we see a lot of German foreign investors. So
that's cool.
Yes.
That's and what do you call that? You said 30%.
So all it is a 30%, our 30% down investment loan. That's what we call it. So legitimately, they do need 30% down. Are the interest rates higher than average? Yes, of course they are. So there's two catches there: 30% down and higher interest rates than normal. So
interesting. Cool. All right, I want to know, because you talk about Southwest Florida and you talk about Vegas and Minneapolis. There's a couple questions I still got to ask you. Why haven't you just made the commitment all the way to, come down to Florida all the time?
It's so funny you say that. So I still have boys from a previous relationship. My boys live up in Minneapolis full time, and they're still young. They're still in school, right? So they're 13 and 10. They're great. They're awesome. I love them to death. But of course, they're still in school. And of course, mom probably won't let me. My mother of the children won't let me bring them down here full time. I'm hoping and praying they go to school here.
Right. There you go.
Go to college down here.
Hey, you need to convince the mother to come down here too, right?
Exactly.
One big happy blended family, and everyone's happy in sunny Florida.
I think you're right.
There you go. I mean, they come and visit. Usually they don't want to leave.
Right.
So
true.
Love it. All right. So we have 3 questions that we ask every single guest. And so I'm excited to hear these from you. The first question is, how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? And do you kind of have a favorite failure of yours?
That's, I think about that all the time, right? Because of course, I mean, as a business owner, and I've had a few different businesses in my life, I wish that I would have, dwelled on these failures a little bit more, because you see a failure happens to you, and you're like, that wasn't that big of a deal, until later on you're like, oh God, that was a really bad failure, right? So one of my biggest failures, and this is off the cusp, this is me just thinking right out loud, right? So it's somewhat serious, and it's somewhat, I'd like to think it's serious, right? But anyways, ready? So in 4th grade, this is a true story. 4th grade, I read a book, right, in 4th grade, right? And then in 5th grade, I did the same book for a book report. So I did a book report in 4th grade for this book, did a 5th grade book report for the same book, right? And then 6th grade, did the same book report for the same book, right?
So you mean smart,
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Time management.
You're working smarter, not harder.
Right. Here's where I got busted. So the 6th grade teacher is having like a cigarette or coffee break, because I'm older. So in the the student, like not the student, but the teacher, like faculty lounge, right? And they're like, oh God, Josh Lund did a really good book report on this book. This this is the 6th grade teacher to the 4th grade teacher, and she's like, what book? And she's like, I don't remember what, ABC or whatever, whatever. But, and she's like,
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So because of course I took the notes, the first time, the 4th grade, I got like a D. Yeah. And she gave me some notes, and then I got the 5th grade. Thank you. Got one up. And then of course it was like an A+ at 6th grade, bro. So I think I should be like, but of course why is this a failure? Because I probably should have read more. works. You know what I mean? But I think it was like time management. You know, so my mom was like kind of mad at me when I got busted. My dad's like, I think that was kind of smart.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
That's actually funny.
Yeah.
I think it's smart. I mean, obviously, you're kind of bending the rules in the sense.
They never said you couldn't.
I was going to say, in the fine print, did they say that you couldn't use a report from a previous year?
Probably you shouldn't. You probably should know that. But yeah, no,
probably wasn't. It was probably more ethical that you broke maybe the ethics in the sense, but I mean legally, technically, the contract.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Love it. So, all right. Well, we obviously are inundated with our businesses, and sometimes we lose focus. All right. When you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, you've kind of lost that focus temporarily. What do you do? And how do you overcome that?
I wish I could say like working out, probably like everyone else says, like, let's go work out, man. I mean, as you know, I mean, I'm a bigger dude, so I'm not a big worker.
You and me both, buddy.
So, I mean, of course, it's not working out, right?
Yeah.
So, honestly, I do see that more and more, especially I've been in the business for, over 20 years. So, legitimately, it's easy to get sidetracked, especially when you got 9 other projects going on outside of real estate, right? Or lending. So, to really task it down, I really still am old school, and I don't do anything on the computer like I do, of course, emails and stuff. But when I want to do like notes, I legitimately still handwrite notes, and I'm like, okay, you got to reel it in. Like I'll just like I'm a self medicator, right? Like I'll be like I'll identify it and say to myself, okay, you really got to reel it in here. You know what I mean? You're ADDing yourself all over the board.
For sure.
So all I do is like legitimately task manage like on a piece of paper. I have my little spiral like trapper keeper book thing.
Yep.
And I legitimately like, even if I'm losing today, like mentally, like it's already 5 o'clock, I'm already checked out.
Yeah.
And I'm already like, okay, I got to go have a cigar. Before I go, I'll be like, okay, dummy, here's what you got to do tomorrow. You got to get this done. You got to get this. You got to get this. So I'll at least make it seem like I'm trying to set up my agenda for tomorrow. I know I'm not doing anything today because I'm already like, you just said like checked out.
Yeah.
Gone,
Focused.
right?
Yep.
So I'll just be like, okay, at least do something.
Right.
Come up
Set yourself up for tomorrow.
Exactly.
Since tomorrow or today is done. Right?
Correct. Exactly. So that's exactly what I do. I'm super old school. I wish it was something fun like, yes, I do chai yoga, or, you know what I mean, or whatever it's called. I wish I did that, but I'm not that guy.
I hear you.
Right.
You're not that guy.
Yeah,
you're not that guy.
Exactly.
No, I hear you on that. I mean, I don't. The unfocused part, I do love the gym, but that's in the morning.
Right.
That's kind of something to get me going for the day and whatnot. Not really unfocused. I actually love sticky notes.
So do I.
Sticky notes is like my favorite thing.
3M, hashtag 3M Minnesota.
Exactly. Yep. Maybe that's why we love it. I have the sticky notes like on the computer. It's not the same though. I want them handwritten, and I want them on my monitor, on my desk, whatever it might be, and a legal pad, like those good old legal pads that you can tear out when you're done.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, the to-do lists on those things are the most focused anything you could ever have, and I love it. I love it.
That's
so
me
good
to the T.
to
do it to a T.
Maybe that's just Midwest.
Probably.
That's what we were born doing. Right. What are some bad recommendations or advice you hear in your industry?
A lot of times I hear other real estate agents, and this is not a pick on real estate agents, but I do hear a lot of real estate agents, or I'm told from my clients, like, hey, my real estate agent that I'm working with, they told me to shop around from like 4 or 5 different mortgage lenders, right? And a lot of times that's not a good thing. I mean, you would think as a real estate agent, I'm doing my client justice, or I'm like, shop around, get 3 or 4 quotes, or, whatever. And a lot of times that's not a good thing to do because of the fact they get their credit pulled at 3 or 4 different lenders. And, and one of them promises them something that they can't come through for, or, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So a lot of times I always just like, listen, just save yourself time. Just work with one amazing lender, and that and trust, and that will just get it done and do what they say they're going to do. Yeah. That's usually what the biggest thing is, right?
Yeah, and maybe it's too maybe they need to reword it too, because I think one of the thing is they're giving those 3 examples or 3 recommendations, which kind of realtors are supposed to have to do, right? But it's first of all, figure out, do you like the person? Yep. Don't go be pulling credit, and don't go down this path. Don't waste anyone's time either, right? Like, the person's obviously buying a house is probably the time is worth something. The lender too, right? So maybe drive a little bit, see if it's thing, and then kind of go down the path. If the 3 recommendations are good from a good realtor, then any of those 3 probably can get you a loan, right? But figure out which one you like working with the best, then go down that path. But yeah, pulling credit nowadays on 3-4 different times.
Yeah, and it's just out of control, right? And you got to work with someone too as a real estate agent that brings value. You know, everyone like me can, or any banker can get a mortgage completed, a standard run of the mill. Like, what other values are you getting? What other features and benefits are you getting from your lender? You know what I mean? So
100%.
That's the biggest thing that I always tell everybody.
Love it. Words of wisdom.
Right.
Josh Lund.
Right.
Well, good. Well, if you can't believe it, we are already almost out of time here. So we are wrapping it up. Josh, thank you again for joining us. Fun fact for everyone listening, Josh is back and forth. We're trying to get him on for a long time. Right. We finally got him here. We got him down in the Southwest Florida. So
I love it.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for all your wisdom, and it was a great time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Legitimately, I love the magazine. I really do. I love being a part of it. I love it so much. I joined the magazine up in Minnesota.
You're in the Twin Cities Real Producers as well. Yeah. So he's in both, and he gets to go to even more events and whatnot. Exactly. So it's perfect. So, well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. As always, RP Experience is extremely thrilled to have you here. We're here at Venture X in the podcast studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks everyone.
Thanks.